Welcome to Let Freedom Ring. Before we get into anything, we just want to say here at the show, rest in peace to Matthew Perry from Friends, played Chandler Bing. Meant a lot to a lot of people. I know we get into that, people get sad about celebrities, but the same thing is like Chandler Bing was in our homes for all those years, so very sad to hear about Matthew Perry. But my guest this week, Rich Berklund, a.k.a.
Waddles McTurkey, and surprisingly, coming in the studio today, Steve Dovich as well.
How you doing, everyone?
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah. Let's get to know you guys a little bit. First, Rich, just kind of, how you been since your last appearance? It's been almost about like a year and a half.
Pretty good. Just living life, trying to stay out of trouble, keeping this guy straight. Doing what we do, putting on tournaments.
Absolutely. We're going to talk a lot about the cold turkey. But Steve, I want to get to know you just a little bit. Where are you from originally? Where do you live in now?
Sure. Originally, I'm actually from Chelsea, Mass, right outside of Boston. But I spent most of my childhood in Londonderry. Currently, I live in Goffstown with my wife. We've been there for now about 11 years. And, we love it there. It's we live off a little side street. It's far enough away from everything, but still close enough to work to, what I consider the center of my universe, which is West Junior Deb. So it's kind of nice. So yeah.
Now I got to ask. So, and as people watching the show, you are like the director of operations of My Social Sports.
So I'm actually the operations manager.
Operations manager.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. So I have two coworkers that I work with, and one that I answer to, but I oversee the majority of the leagues that we run in Manchester, with the exception of our soccer program, which my coworker Tom, who's done an incredible job with that program, revitalizing it over the last 2 years for us. Like I said, I oversee currently our softball league, our softball leagues, our basketball leagues, our bowling league, cornhole, kickball, volleyball, just a whole bunch of stuff. Flag football as well. Yeah. I don't want to forget those guys. So.
And I got to ask now, as a child, did you grow up with aspirations to work in rec sports, or how did you get involved with My Social Sports?
So I didn't. I always played sports growing up as a kid. I want to say it was probably like 2009. I was asked by one of my friends, Mike Grages, who you've had here on the show, to play in the New Hampshire Sports and Social Club Hockey League, which was down here in Merrimack. And I started played for a little while, took some time off, came back, started playing again, played in the league, reffed a lot of games, started helping out to run the leagues, the hockey leagues, and then at one point a position opened up. I applied for it. They offered me the job, and kind of started working there. Didn't know a whole lot. Kind of worked as an assistant, and then over time took over portions of programs, and then to the point where we kind of just split stuff up a little evenly, and here I am. At some point, a lot of you that are playing in the leagues now may not remember the New Hampshire Sports and Social Club, which you see here. This is where Dan started, and a lot of us OG players. When we didn't have the full logo, we just had this on the back.
Yep.
And then we had the left chest, as we call it, where it would say, floor hockey 2009.
Yes.
And it had we had like Bud Light. I think we had Miller Lite at one point as the logo. So, and things changed. And 2016 was when we rebranded. Still the same company, still the same people. Just with we've grown. We're in a couple different states now. So we've that's why we went through the whole My Social Sports name change. I still remember where I came from, we've grown it, and we do the stuff like now with the various tournaments, and we did our first Seacoast softball tournament this year back in June. Next month we're doing a December 2nd tournament, Reindeer Games, which actually filled out today. I think it was probably our quickest tournament to sell out. We posted it on the 18th, and we got 8 teams as of today, so it's, we're happy about that. And, in the tradition of cold turkey, we're going to do another giving event to where we're going to do a toy drive for this one. So we're just super excited about it. So,
yeah, no, a lot of great things you guys do, and I like you bringing up the NHSSC because that's 2009 is when I graduated college in 08. Was looking for a league the next year, obviously because I played in college for softball, and I had all those shirts, and then the shirts like slowly kept changing. Like, because they'd always have that logo on the back, then it wasn't the logo on the back, and then it's just a constant evolution. But I miss that name. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, it felt like because like my social it's easier though because people just go MSSS or whatever. Yeah. But like at the time, it was like, this is like a New Hampshire thing. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it too is we had some challenges where we were in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, and at the time, each state had their own website. And so if you were a player who lived on the border, like yourself, because you play Wednesdays with us in Manchester, but then you play Sundays down in Merrimack, now you'd have to have 2 different accounts on 2 different websites.
Yeah.
And now so this kind of like rolled everything up into one, made it a lot simpler for players, because there's actually, we have a quite a decent amount of players that do that play in multiple regions in the different states.
Oh yeah, the Andover.
Yes. There's a lot of there's a lot of players that play down in the Andover nights, and then they actually play Sunday mornings with us in Manchester. It's or just the other nights as well. So
I have to say the website's fantastic now too because it updates almost in real time. Like the other day, we sent a message. We had some missing players and sent a message like, "Oh, we got mercy rule tonight. It's a rough game." They're like, "No, you didn't. It's already on the." I'm like, we just finished the game. How did that was that updated already?
Yeah. So one of the biggest benefits of the new website that we have is we're able to give different admin levels. So we have multiple people who are at the field at any given night that can post scores. So instead of like us in the office waiting for the scores to get submitted to us and then we go in the next day or like 2 days later when we get them, now it's like, so for like Wednesday nights, Matt Carley, who's there, he has access and he just goes in and puts them right in and it's nice because you get that real time update. So it's real nice.
No, that's super cool. We used to have in the Nashua Sunday League, we had a guy running it who was supposed to update things, and like he would take a week. And finally, volunteer position, we all just said, "We can do this quicker than you. Yeah. You're fired. Yeah. You can stay in the league, but you're out."
Yeah. So
I remember those days.
But yeah. So it's the change has been great for us. But again, we like to remember, where we came from, and the good, some will say it's the good old days. So that brings me to something that I actually I contacted someone earlier this week when we first spoke about me coming on, and I kind of pulled in a favor, and
oh wow!
I was able to get the Cronin Cup from Becca.
Oh yeah.
For the night, so she said she goes, you got to bring it back, and I go, I'll get it back, but I figured I was coming on here, and I think this was probably one of the first interactions that you and I had was about honoring Jimmy and which is where the trophy comes from, and again Jimmy's one of the old school guys, and he played even before I was working in the office, so I never got the chance to meet him, but talking with you, Becca, Rich, I always not you, Rich LaPointe, always heard amazing things about Jimmy, so. But
I always appreciated that you did that because I remember I think that must have been like 20. Yeah, Jimmy passed away unexpectedly in 2014. I think we spoke in maybe 2015. I said it'd be nice to have some kind of tribute because he didn't just play softball. He was doing volleyball and everything. And I always appreciate you did that. And it's fantastic to just keep his name and his legacy going.
Yeah.
And we met over Euros.
Oh, yeah.
I was eating Euros, and you go, I didn't even know who you were. You're like, hey, you got one of those for me? And I'm looking at you like, who's this clown? Why are you? I'm a fat kid. That's my food. Leave me alone.
Now, Dan, I don't know if you remember this, but you, Rich, and myself actually played on a team together in our first tournament ever, the first Queen
City
Classic.
Yeah, I remember.
The inaugural tournament.
That was the first one.
That was the
first one.
very
Oh,
first
okay, I didn't
one.
know that.
Yep.
That was 20.
Oh yeah, people were arguing the bat I was
2016.
using, and I think Rich
Yes.
like checked. He's
Yep.
like, "This is double stamped,"
Yeah.
or something like that.
The bat
wasn't
in
a good
question,
bat either.
The one bat that was
It didn't
in
help us
question
because we went 0-3.
Yeah, we went 0-3. But the one bat that was really funny, I don't know if it was that year, or if it was the year after, was the kid had one of those old school steel bomber bats, and he was hitting them back when Trinity wasn't there, and it was whatever they called it, Deerfield,
yeah.
where he was hitting them to the tennis court. So we pull that bat out of play, and then that guy couldn't even hit it out of the infield. Yeah. They're like, this bat's totally... And their favorite saying is, we use this all the time in the leagues, and nobody says anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it wrong. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's all good stuff. There's so many memories from it. Like honestly, that's what I've always liked about my social NHSSC is that when I was in college, we did intramural sports. That's how I got introduced to softball and other sports, flag football and stuff. And then you get out of college, you still want to do that stuff, and it's like that provided a place to do it with
Right.
so
right. And that's a perfect description of what we do. It's the people will come to us and say, what is your program offer? And we're like, we offer sports for those that still desire to play. And it's funny because we'll have people that are like, well, what's the age limit? And we really don't have one. I want to say our oldest player is in his early 70s, and he's oldest, and he's playing in our soccer league, believe it or not. Yeah. We have a vast age range. When I first started with the company, it was 21 plus.
Yeah.
And then at some point we opened it up to 18, and it changed a little bit, but I mean,
wasn't it 18 with their parents originally?
No, it was 18, but yeah, it's crazy when you think of just the huge demographic that our leagues cover. So
yeah, no, it's always been good, and they used to have. I mean, Nashua used to have some. Do they still doing the National Catholic volleyball there?
So we do. It's called St. Christopher's Academy now, but it's still the same gym. They've done a great job over the years of keeping up with it, and it's one of the better gyms that we use. But yeah, we do. We have a Thursday program that plays there. We don't have as many of the offerings we used to here in Nashua. Partially, it's facilities have just gone away from renting just because they just don't have the space. We're kind of dealing with that in Manchester with some of our gyms. We're just the schools are just doing more and more of their own stuff, so it's kind of shrinking a little bit. But we still do our Sunday night basketball league. We have a Thursday cornhole league now, and a Thursday volleyball league. Tom, who does our Nashua stuff, he's trying to grow Nashua back to where it used to be. I mean, we used to have our Tuesday softball league. We used to have 4 days of hockey that we're not even running hockey currently.
Really? That was like the big thing.
Yeah, it was, and that's the program that I came out of, and it was so big that we used to turn teams away, but it's ball hockey has just changed, and it's not as popular as it used to be, to the point where there 2 years ago, maybe last year, there was a facility in Dracut that was dedicated to just ball hockey that it closed. I think part of it was the demand, and part of it was redevelopment of the area. But there's another league that's running. They do fairly well, but it's just not as popular as it used to be. So it's sad for me that we don't run that program, because it was something that meant a lot to me. But it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's kind of like the change of times, and we've seen it with some of our other sports where some of them are more popular now and some of them are just they're still there, but they're just not as huge. Our flag football program is maybe a quarter of what it used to be.
Yeah, things are always just changing, and it's constant. But you hear that across the board in a lot of things, that things are down. So and I say it a lot with softball, is like, we're gonna have to start getting more of those people in their early 20s playing.
Right.
And you're not seeing. That doesn't mean they don't exist. And all I can see is with the area that I'm in.
Right.
But you start to notice like where are people going?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, you look at Manchester. 5 years ago. You had 3 or 4 other leagues, and part of it was COVID that kind of pushed them away, and part of it was change in the city of Manchester leadership.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of went in different directions, and there was some leagues that were nonprofit that weren't paying, and that's just how it was. And but then they started to want them to pay, and it's kind of the fight that like me and Matt have been dealing with the past couple of years with the city, and as far as the field fees and things of that nature. But and I know even down here in Nashua, it's kind of shrunk down a little.
Well, Nashua is in Merrimack's tougher to get permits than probably, and you probably already know that. Yeah. Nashua per se, it's always evolving. Parks and Rec. It's never the same person ever. It's like it's always changing. So I think that makes it hard. And there's a lot that Nashua used to not charge for fields at all. Now they do, and if you're a league. Which I don't think the permit cost is like absurd, but it is just a lot of people that played back in the day like we never had to pay for permits,
right?
But it is what it is.
Times change.
I do want to talk about this because big tournament this weekend. I'm wearing the shirt, Cold Turkey. I think I've played in this. How old is it? Because I feel like I've been playing it. 8 years.
This is the 8th year that we've been doing this tournament, and it started out at West Junior Deb
in St. A's.
In St. A's, we had 12 teams, I think. We played it at night, mostly at night. And we had food, we had raffle stuff. It was a squishy ball tournament. People absolutely loved it. They're like, because, as all the other seasons end, people still want to keep playing. And here we go. So we're like, oh, yeah, well, we'd like to thank Brian Jalbert, who was the one that had the idea.
Oh,
He's
really?
like, you guys, because at the time we had Queen City Classic. We had
Halloween
Havoc. We had Stars and Strikes.
Nope, that was the
next
following year.
So we only had a couple. So we're like, let's just do another one in November. And everybody thought we were crazy. Why are you doing one in November? That's so stupid. And it filled up.
Yeah.
And at one point, we had 24 teams in this tournament in 1 year.
So we've actually had it 3 times. We've done 24 teams, and it's a lot of fun.
Incredibly,
and it's great the turnout that we get and the donations. But to be honest, it's really it gets hard to maintain when it's that large, just because we deal with like the field conditions this time of the year. They're brutal. I mean, myself and 2 people today, Elijah, my GM, and Matt Carley, who runs my Wednesday league for me, we spent an hour shop vacuuming water off of Wolf today.
Just to get the field ready.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the battle that, Matt from Pinnacle has been having, and Matt and Josh have been having all year. I know I went down there twice with them to clean off water. I think this is my 4th time this year vacuuming or pumping water off. It's just, the fields. It's been a rough year. I mean, you play in our Andover league, so we've Sunday nights have been brutal. Sunday nights and into Mondays have been brutal.
Weekends have been a wash this year.
Yeah, they've been tough.
Yeah, we've been lucky in our Sunday morning league. I don't think we've had many rainouts. West Deb is special. There's something, I think they at some point they put ground unicorns or something in the dirt. Because it just drains very, very well. But the other fields, they just don't work. And then this time of the year where it's colder, the water just doesn't drain in the ground. So, but yeah, it's
morphed big time.
Yeah,
especially with the concept was to give back, right? Because we had these tournaments, and we really weren't giving back to the community. And Steve and I sat down and talked about it. I said, hey, why don't we do something where we can give back, where My Social Sports can give back to the community, and we can say, here, let's go find a charity, let's do a food drive, because and it kind of started as food, and some people donated clothes, and some people put stuff at their offices, and they were donating. It was like, hey, so let's do food, and what are we going to give them if they bring food? Let's make it worth their while. So then we came up with the gimmicks.
Yes.
That have been absolutely hilarious. Some people get frustrated with it, right? They're like, oh, this is so dumb. I can't believe we're doing this. But then they go on and do it. and they're the ones that are laughing the hardest. They're the ones that are getting into it, so it's just kind of really evolved to where it's like, it's kind of like our Daytona 500, our Super Bowl, our World Series all in one day. It's a great day. I dress like a turkey. This is my outfit. I'll be there all day in it. But it's just another way to give back. And people, even though the economy's tough, people still give, because they know that the first few years we did Liberty House, right? Because we're both veterans. We wanted to give back to veterans. That's, for Steve and I, that's something that's very important to us, is to give back to our brothers and sisters, because some of them are not as fortunate as we are. So we reached out to Liberty House. The first year we were there, they had their little pantry in the basement, and it was almost empty. But by the time we got done giving them the food, they were blown away because it was packed.
Yeah.
It was absolutely packed. And it's every year, it's just, even with less teams, we still get more and more and more food, because teams are like, so we say you have to give 200 non-perishable food items. Some teams will give 400 or 500 non-perishable food items. So that's money that they're going out to spend. And it's not like the Walmart dollar cans of soup either. It's across the board. And it really feels good. So we've teamed with other companies. We've teamed with Catholic Charities now, who bought, Liberty House is under their umbrella. And then we had another company, Chip Nadu. His company said, hey, we don't play in the tournament, but we'll go pick up the food for you guys, because that logistically has been the hardest part. I mean, one year we rented a U-Haul trailer, and I'm running field to field to field to get food. So, those people, and then one year, the food bank, they sent trucks around, and it just became really logistically challenging for us. And then they came to Steve and said, hey, Chip said, we'll help.
Yeah.
So that is humongous for us, because then we can get to the field, we can get the food counted, and then somebody comes and picks it up. And we can just enjoy, the rest of the day. And then they even take it to them and drop it off. Yep. And then, they're so happy when they see that, because it is tough, tough times for everybody. And it just,
especially this time of year.
Yeah. And it just makes them, we could give them we did cash one year. We did that on top. We did a fundraiser. But to me, it's not about giving them a check. It's about, because it's not just about us. It's about all the people that come together, the 122 players or 200 players we've had, or 240 that are giving. And it makes us feel good. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Now, who came up with the gimmicks idea? Because I actually think that's like the most unique part of it. And for me, it's like we've been playing all year. Let's do something different. So I love it.
Oh, it's hilarious.
So I think I got the idea from a tournament either up north or in Maine that was doing something similar to this. Not so much to get people to bring canned goods. I forget why they were doing it, but I just
part of their tournament.
I just saw it and I thought it was kind of funny, and I think some of them we've had the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I think we've always done T-ball bats, which is
because that is the funniest thing ever. Because
especially when you've got these like big hulking guys, and they step up to the plate and they got this little pink T-ball bat in their hand.
And they have to have both hands on it.
Yeah.
So the first year we didn't say that. They could just swing it, and they did really well. And then we said, no, now you got to keep both hands on it. But what's even more funny is when you see the 5'4" Ramel come up to the plate with a T-ball bat, and it looks like a full-size bat. And then the guy on the other team who's 6'4", he's holding the T-ball bat, and it looks like a toothpick.
No.
I'm 2 for 2 using that bat. No.
Your
That's
brother,
what it's all about.
Your brother had used one last year, Bobby, and he mashed it. And it was what it was someone had donated some newer T-ball bats to us, and I brought them to the field, and both of them got destroyed. Now we're back to using the bats that
we found a West Junior Dev in the attic.
And it's like the old like Black Max from like 1988, and those ones are actually made of steel and not the junk metal nowadays.
But it's so fun, like doing the kickball and doing the money ball, and it just because then it takes into strategy too, right? Because you were in pool play, you still want to make it out of your pool, and it kind of levels the field, right? Because you look at some teams, that are like just purely rec players. They're Sunday morning rec players. It gives them a chance to be in the game as well. Yep. You know,
So,
like, hey.
we are going to bring the kickball back for reindeer games.
Oh, I love
Okay.
the kickball. Is one of my favorite ones.
That's a tough one because logistically, that time of the year, it's tough because when the kickballs are cold, they tear.
Yeah.
You kick them hard enough, they're going to tear.
Yep.
So at least this way, with reindeer games, where we're at Trinity, it's going to be much easier for me to just have a whole bunch of them on site in one location,
In one spot.
as opposed to trying to have 4 kickballs at 6 different fields.
What fields are we looking at this weekend?
So we have Martell and Twardowski, and then we have which is our Merrimack pools, and then we have Wolf Park and Brown and Mitchell for our Manchester pools.
I gotta ask this. This is a question that I've always kind of thought about because the church softball league are playing in multiple towns.
Mm-hmm.
My social sports doing a tournament in multiple towns. What is the logistics of a tournament where it's not just one town you're talking with?
It can be difficult because in the past, the way we've done it is you have pool play, right? And then we would seed everybody out of the pool play. And inevitably, somebody from Manchester would have to drive down to Merrimack, and somebody from Merrimack would have to go to Manchester. So we said, hey, look, we're going to do it this way. We're going to have the pools in, the 2 cities. And then you'll take the top 4 teams in Manchester. They'll battle it out. Top 4 teams in Merrimack battle it out. And then whoever the last 2 teams standing, we go down to Merrimack at Martell, and we play it out. Yeah. But it can be difficult. The one year we had 24 teams. We had people playing over by Bud. There was fields over there. I mean, so it's really becomes logistically you have to have staff to support it too. So you have to have field manager at every field. You have to have somebody doing scores at every field.
Do the towns ask many questions about like the permits, and like, are you just like, I need this field, and it's for this? Because I've always been curious about when something is just in one place. It's got to be easier to only have to work with one park rec.
It is. Yeah.
It's very much easier.
It is. I mean, so basically what ends up happening is, and I've already started working on our dates for next year. So it's generally they're very close to the same days year to year, unless something drastically changes. Like cold turkey, for 3 or 4 years, we actually used to do it on Veterans Day weekend.
Yeah.
But then Merrimack. Ryan, he from U-Trip.
Ryan Mayer.
Yeah, Ryan Mayer. I'm sorry, I spaced his name. They used to do last call the first weekend of November, but I think they moved because like this weekend is co-ed down at Worlds, I believe. So they moved it to Veterans Day weekend, which pushed us a week early, which it is what it is. So, but yeah, it's like you said, it's the permits can be tough to get here at Merrimack, but we from year to year we're always guaranteed at least that weekend, unless Ryan needs to change something, and then in that way we would just flip to the weekend that they're not doing it. So, but yeah, I mean, come January, February, I start putting in requests for permits for the year, once Manchester says yes, and once Merrimack says yes, these are the dates, we go ahead and post them So it's funny because there are people like, I didn't see that you guys posted the tournament. I'm like, it's been up since February.
Yeah, it's been there.
So the only date that I don't have right now is for Heartbreakers. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with Heartbreakers this year.
I know that's a tough one because a lot of places with the snow don't want them using the field.
Yeah, it's that, and it's people not, that typically that is a blast as well because there's snow on the ground, but it's been hard with getting the fields outside.
Yeah.
Are you going to plow them? Yeah, we're going to plow them. No, we're not going to plow them. Do you still want to play on it?
Yeah.
And when we tell people, we're going to get plowed fields, they expect that, and then when they show up and they're not plowed, it makes it hard. In the last 2 years, we've done it in the dome, just because of that reason, and people actually don't like it.
Yeah.
They want to be outside. They're like, hey,
it's on my bucket
get us
list
outside.
Of my softball bucket list items. I've never played in the snow.
Oh my Lord!
And I think the first years you guys maybe started, I don't know. I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And the year I was, we were in the dome. So
the first year we played, it snowed up until about 10 minutes before we got to the field.
Yeah.
And I was literally texting people, emailing people, saying, bring shovels.
We'll give you a free session.
We gotta shovel the field, and people showed up, and we shoveled as much as we could. There was some guys that, were even out in the outfield shoveling, and I can remember, Nate, throughout the day was, and you know, I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, if he had like 5 seconds in between, like when he wasn't playing,
He was shoveling.
he'd literally run out in the field, shovel a little bit more until the game would start, and then go back. And it was, you know, it was great. And that's, you know, that's the you know, I get a lot of help like that from guys, and it's, you know, and it's amazing. So
the turnout you get, because people they just want to go play. They just want to have a good time.
I think that's a good thing that you guys do, though, is all the tournaments kind of have something unique to them.
We do.
Yeah.
You know,
They all have unique logos. They all have unique trophies.
Yeah.
No two trophies are the same for tournaments.
Yeah.
They all have a different, you know, everything has a different meaning.
Yeah.
You know, like Queen City Classics in May, Halloween Havoc, Stars and Strikes, Heartbreakers is in February. We have the Fall Classic now, which is our strictly rec tournament, you know, just because people were like, hey, can we just do a tournament for just rec teams? That was brought to us. Bonnie Sullivan brought that up and said, hey, can we just do it? Because we get teams that come out and play, and they come out every time. But, you know, there's some teams that are higher caliber than others.
Sure.
So they want to play against people of the same caliber. So we started this Fall Classic tournament, which has been outstanding. We've had, that's starting to grow. Every one of our tournaments is like over time starts to grow. We get new teams coming in. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, hey, we have this tournament in February. Oh, that's really cool. You know, so it means a lot to us.
Yeah. No, I love that. I like that they're all just kind of something a little bit different. You know?
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite memories of the cold turkey?
Yeah.
Mine has to be every time I see Ramel with that T-ball bat. I'm sorry. I don't mean to pick on him, but it's just funny. It's just, you just look at it, and it's just funny because here's this guy, you know, he's a little 5'4", and I can't say the word I want to say, but he, you know, he just thinks he's like all that in a bag of chips. And you give him that T-ball bat, and it's just a riot, dude. It's just, I'm sorry. It's hilarious.
I think it might be some of like the weather related like stuff that we've had to deal with. So we had 1 year, and I forget what year it was. And if he's watching, he might be remember because he's got a really good memory. But there was 1 year I remember we were at Wolf Park. Anthony Amato was on the mound, and I think we probably had a cold year that year, and the frost started coming up out of the ground, started melting, coming up. And the pitcher's mound was just puddles.
Oh, geez.
And it was awful. But you know, that's what happens when you play softball in November.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either that or we had the same issue in Merrimack one year when you and I were at Martell.
The second baseman, Kim, she's on my team this year. She went to go down to field the ground ball, and the ground was so wet it hit the mud, and the ball stopped, and it just caked her face. And she just looked up. Like she just ate a giant, you know, piece of mud, and she was just laughing because there's nothing you can do, but you just laugh about it because the field starts out frozen, then it melts, and it's just muck, and then it freezes again. So at the end of the night, you know, if you're playing shortstop, that ball hits, you don't know where it's going because there's all the frozen footprints and stuff in the ground and stuff. And it's just.
Except for last year where it was 70.
70 degrees.
Yeah,
the
last
one
year
year
was
that
like
I'm not there, it's 70 degrees.
And you weren't there to enjoy the 1 year of nice weather.
Yeah.
I
saw the pictures, though.
It was, and I got to say, the Fall Classic this year was really warm. But
It was
I think
hot, yeah.
that was earlier September,
Yeah.
but still, you never know what the weather's going to
Right,
be.
right.
You know.
Right.
I did want to play a little game with you guys. Sure. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. We have a couple fan questions first. First one. From Bobby Bollier, who is the biggest horror you have to deal with, and why is it Dylan LaRue?
Actually, Dylan LaRue is not the biggest harder that we have to deal with.
No.
Dylan LaRue is just, he's just chirpy. He likes to chirp. That's
stressed
what
out all the time.
That's what he reminds me of is just a bird that's super lonely and just chirping to get attention. But for like the biggest hardo, I'd have to say, is probably Josh Drews.
Josh Drews. Oh, okay.
And it's not because it's not how he talks. It's just how he goes about it. Like, you know, one game he hits a solo shot, and then he hits a 2-run home run, then he hits a 3-run home run, then he gets mad because he didn't hit a grand slam, and you giggle because whenever somebody hits a home run at West Junior Deb and it's a guy, I say the same thing. it's a girl field. I can't do it.
Kid field, actually.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But still, I always make fun of the guys that strut when they do it. So
Yeah.
I think to me, Josh Drews is probably the biggest heart of it.
I'd have to say Rich.
Why would you say me?
Because you're the only one who goes in and edits his name on the website to put Mr. 5-time.
Yeah.
Come on, really, Rich?
Hey, when you get as old as I do, you take whatever wins you can, my friend.
like
But
Booker
he
T,
does
right?
have a point, though, because the very first time I ever won a trophy,
Yeah.
and I realized we didn't get to keep them.
In his life, ever.
No, I won before. I actually had one made. I actually have a trophy in my house that's two-tiered that shows all the championships that I won.
Yeah, because I know you used to be able to take it out to the bar
Yeah.
after and stuff. And
They disappear, so we don't do that.
oh, I could imagine. Yeah, I mean,
That's the second one.
so
That's not the original.
there was one oh yes.
Yeah.
I remember one year I think I won the Cronin's Cup in 2016, and this is before Big Ed knew me, and so he didn't know the whole story. Like I'd asked you to make the name on there, and
Yeah.
like I think that's a great idea. So we won, and I'm like going to take the trophy. He goes, "So you can't take that?" I go, "I'll have it back. I know Steve. I know Elijah. I know the no. They told. I'm like, I promise you, you can take my information. I'm not going to lose this.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, we've stopped doing them, and we do the banners that we give to the teams.
Yeah, I like those.
And you know, part of it, to be honest, is logistically it was tough with the trophies because, you know, we'd have 6 or 7 of them, and we'd have to bring them to the field for this playoff, and then we'd have to get them to this field.
It was tough. Yeah.
And you know, it was always that, like you said, like take your picture with it. No,
Yeah.
not to get back. So now, you know, it's nice that we do the banners, and you know, it's something that you know that the teams get to keep. And I've seen, you know, teams will autograph them, which is kind of cool. And you know, for the tournaments, we still do the trophies, of course, and we do the banners for the tournaments as well with the logos. Yeah.
You know, I think the banner is perfect. I mean, honestly, it's for the sessions at times. It's an 8-game session. I wouldn't be buying big trophies for those. You know, I think the banner
works perfect.
You know, my thought on it too is like, you know, at some point, like, what do you do with them? Like, if you have a couple of them, or you know, a bunch of them. I mean, I know if I brought them home, my wife wouldn't want them in the house. Like, I don't have like a dedicated room. So.
Yeah, there's some leagues where they just.
I don't have a trophy room like Rich Berklund, Mr. 5 time.
I don't have a trophy room. Just have them sitting on my fireplace.
He's gonna catch up to Ric Flair someday.
Yeah, I'll never be that.
See, I have a bunch of every time I've been on a team in a men's league or a co-ed league or whatever, and we've gotten the second place, nobody wants it. So I usually take it and use it for something.
Well, you know what second place is? First loser.
Yeah, but you can take the plate off and use it.
Yeah, for something.
You know.
Yeah. I agree.
Ricky Atherton want to know, and I guess you both can answer this. What branch did you serve, and how many years in the armed forces?
I'll let you answer first.
So I served 11 years in the National Guard here in New Hampshire. I did 2 deployments. I did 2004, 2005. I was in Iraq, and 2010, 2011. I was in Kuwait. So, you know.
I was in the Navy. I did 20 years. I retired in 2007.
And there is an episode of Let Freedom Ring that we did discuss this. So
We
Ricky,
did.
you got to go back.
You got to go back and watch it.
'cause,
We
you know.
went very in depth.
Yes.
It was that was a very emotional
Yeah.
time.
Because I saw that question, I'm like, Ricky, you need to catch up on your episodes.
Oh, but look, it's Ricky. Come on.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's funny because like the first time I met Ricky, he actually played on my fall classic team last year. I didn't know him, and somebody recommended him, and you know, had a great day hanging out with him. You know,
funny as hell.
We lost in the final, and I thought Ricky was a vet because I see his posts all the time where he's so active in, you know, different marches and stuff like that. But you know, he told me a story that, you know, he does it in someone's memory, which is, you know, is amazing. So, but yeah, great guy.
Yeah, Ricky, like I do the tough ruck, but Ricky like does it in like good times. I just finish it. You know. Last one from, and again, we have answered this question before on a previous episode, but we'll just go into it. Dylan Rue want to know favorite memory of in the service.
Go ahead.
Time in the service.
That's tough. You know, and Rich has put me on the spot. I know what he wants me to say. So I was fortunate enough during my time in the Army to meet my wife. My wife Jen.
Yes.
So that's how we met. So
I've seen the picture of you both.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, and so, you know, we had some great times together, and you know, there's that was my time in just here in New Hampshire, but then also my time in Kuwait where we were over there together. I had some great guys that I was stationed with in Iraq and that I still talk to. And a few months back, we had like a little like mini like reunion, which was nice to see guys that I hadn't seen in 15 years and just reminisce about old times. But it's tough to say. It's it's like a lot of things, a lot of good, a lot of bad, and Dylan probably can say the same. Is where there's just a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Rich.
It's hard to pick one moment. It's I thought about this a lot, and I think probably for me, one of the best things we ever did is when we played softball in Italy.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was the officers and the chiefs against the enlisted guys, and it was not softball that you see here, right? It was down and dirty. People literally trying to take each other out, because that was our one time when it was there was no rank. No rate. It was everybody's out on the field, and everybody's fair game. And I got flipped by a lieutenant going to first base. Literally flipped me on my fat butt. And I got up and I laughed and laughed and laughed, because what else do you do?
Yeah.
So yeah, but there's just so many. I mean, like Steve said, there's a lot of good, a lot of bad.
Yeah.
I got both my children when I was in the military. Very thankful for them. Even though they drive me nuts. I met my wife, both wives, when I was in the military. So I'm on number 2. Number 2 stuck, though. We've been together last month, 29 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Married 27, together 29.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome. She might not think that, though. I do.
All right, well, I want to play a quick game here. Softball word or name association. I'm going to give you something to do with softball. Could be a name of a player, could be a field, could be a rule. You give me the first word that comes to mind.
Okay.
Wolf Park.
Vacuums.
Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper. Yeah.
Tribute to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen the plaque that says.
I do remember. I think I only had, I knew a lot of people that knew him, but I think I only had him as an umpire one time. But yeah, that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, he was. So Cooper was he was the umpire in chief. Before Richie Whitmer, who does it now, and Cooper was. Cooper was kind of my mentor. I was never a softball guy. I don't consider myself a softball guy. There's so many other people in the community that know so much more than I do, and I'm grateful for those that I've met and been able to talk with and kind of pick their brain on stuff. But Cooper was he was amazing. I could call him at any time of the day. He was retired, and I'd be like, hey, this came up last night. What's the correct ruling on it? And Richie's great like this as well. So I mean, I've been very lucky with my counterparts with USA Softball to that they've been always been great to me. But Cooper was amazing. He passed away, and I really should know this. I want to say it was like 2018, 2017. But up until the last time I saw him, and he was in the hospital. It was like days before Queen City Classic, and he's like, he has a dry erase board and he's writing down umps, fields, and he's like still had that like softball mentality. So, but yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
Brown and Mitchell.
Crappy.
Dogs.
Dogs.
It's like a lot of the fields in Manchester. They've become dog parks, and it's something that it's something we'll always fight with.
Yeah.
Fun fact: it's actually not called Brown and Mitchell anymore.
Yeah, and that's something I was hoping you guys could address, because Danielle was saying that the other day.
What's the name of it?
It's called Barbershaw Park. So Barbershaw was a
teacher, I believe.
She was somebody influential in that area of Manchester.
Okay.
And they renamed it last year, I think, Barbershop Park. And it's funny because when I call the city and I talk about Brown and Mitchell, the woman who I deal with permits, she always corrects me. She goes, "We're not allowed to call it Brown and Mitchell anymore." I'm like, "It's Brown and Mitchell. It'll always be Brown and Mitchell, no matter what." So
yeah, they were saying, trying to get to catch on, because someone said it in our chat one time for a game, and I go, "All right, where's that field?"
Right.
And they're like, "No, it's Brown and Mitchell." I said, "Okay." What about just saying Brown and Mitchell's now called? Like, tell me something. I didn't just know that.
Well, the funny thing is it's actually when you walk up through that gate, there's a little monument there. So Brown and Mitchell actually has a second name already, and I forget what it is. But it's in honor of someone who someone else there. It's just weird. It's like I slip all the time with Trinity.
Yeah,
it'll always be Derryfield Park.
Yep.
Yes.
It'll always be Derryfield East, Derryfield
West.
But every once in a while, I slip and say
or Road Park or Playground.
Yeah. So
squish ball.
Expensive. They are, and I hate to go down this route, but
don't go there.
one of the many things that has changed since COVID is the squish balls are like double the price. So I can buy 2 boxes of Diamond Zulus, which everyone knows, for the same price as 1 box of squish balls.
Really?
Yeah, and it's been one of those things where we've been trying to find a suitable replacement for, but believe it or not, there's no other training ball that's like that. Every other ball is like you ever hit like an Easton Incredible?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, dude.
We'd be so your game last night. Which end of Trinity did you play on?
Not the playground side, the other one.
Yeah.
Road side.
So if we were hitting like Easton Incrediballs or some of the other balls I've bought in the past, you'd be hitting up into the baseball field.
In their squish balls?
It's a training ball, but there's just nothing else that has that squish, but at the same time isn't just complete like rubber, like to where it's just we tried ones a few years ago made by Diamond, and they were hitting where the warning track is and then just bouncing over the fence.
They were like Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But those balls have to last longer, right? Like,
I mean, it depends.
We did one season and then got rid of them because everybody hated them.
I think we used them. We bought them and then we used them that year as one of the gags for cold turkey.
Yeah,
just to use them.
To use them up.
So, but yeah, it's
Squish ball, horrible.
I often get asked why do we play on like West Junior Dab and Trinity, and it's there's not enough suitable fields for us to play on.
Trinity's a blast though.
I love it. Turf is so much fun. It's I get it. Like some of the infielders will complain because you get like the hops are a little different playing infield, but whatever.
Something different.
Yeah. At my age with my knee and stuff, it's much better to run on the turf.
My age.
So
I play a lot of softball, and doing different versions of it, which is what I look at is fun. Mix it up. It doesn't always have to be the same.
We got some good ones coming up, so don't be so long-winded.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
Rich Whitmer.
Turd.
Oh.
I love Rich. Except for the Dolphins thing.
So I got one Rich, who's my right-hand man, and I got the other Richie, who's my other, who just, without him, I couldn't do it. There's no way I could assign as many games as he does for me. It's great, and his wife Denise, who works for me as well. They've both been amazing for me the last few years.
Yeah, I like Rich a lot. Mel Amato.
Loud.
Former teammate. We played first year I played softball. Was on one of Mel's teams. So this was Thursday softball with us. I've always given Mel a hard time about digging in the box. I think she's stopped doing that though. But
no, she still does. Not as bad though.
Can't do it on turf though.
No, I know.
But she'll try. Watch her. She'll try.
West Deb.
Tiny.
Home.
Okay.
It's my home.
Trinity.
It's beautiful.
Best sunsets around.
I love that when I have the first game to get that's gonna be gone soon because we're still doing the daylight savings.
We've been playing in the dark.
We turning the lights on at 4 o'clock.
Heartbreakers.
It's the one tournament I say every year I'm not going to do it because of the weather but it's just one of those things where it's like, I do it because the players want it.
I got 4 words: love of the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was one word, but I'll take it.
Yep.
Love of the game.
Lindsay Preby. I hope I said that right. I don't know how to say Lindsay's name.
Bubblegum.
Bubblegum.
Yeah.
Different.
Okay. Ramel Bradburn.
I've known Ramel for a long time. He's always played in our softball leagues. He played in our flag football leagues for a while. He's like the little brother I love to pick on, but I like Ramel.
Ramel's a good guy.
He's I think a lot of people misunderstand him, but yeah, I get along well with him.
Ramel. I would have to say, for me, he's obnoxious. Just because when he wants something, he always comes to reach it. I get this text every tournament. Do you still have room for one more team? Yes. I'm signing up. Okay. You could have just checked the website. You would have been okay.
Oh, that's what you could have checked the website.
Yeah.
When somebody yells out, "By you."
Corey Cairo.
It depends.
Yeah. I think it's just softball lingo. I love it.
It is.
I will say that too, because Corey was actually the last person who I heard say that.
Yes.
It was at the last tournament.
Yeah, I heard that too, and then I heard the ramifications that came of it later.
Oh, really? You're supposed to say Louisiana Bayou.
Yeah, no.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, that's a big softball thing. That's part of the game. Like, it's funny, we were playing in Andover, and we were playing this team, I don't know them, and a ball got hit over Ryan McMahon's head, and I'm yelling from shortstop, I'm like, Bayou! Like, I'm harassing him. All of a sudden, he sprints, he chucks it, he goes, why are they saying stuff? I go, I said it. It was Bayou, dude. And he's like, I mean, I don't, there's a lot of things that are said in softball that I think if you don't play the game a lot, you'd be insulted by that, but that's just that's just a thing.
Well, and it's also who's saying it.
And how they say it.
Right. Because, you could if I was in the outfield, which you'll never see me out there again.
Yeah.
Never. And it went over my head and you said it, I'd laugh. But then if somebody else said it, i.e. Corey Cairo, I wouldn't be laughing. I'd be like, all right, buddy. Yeah, I got your number. It is, you're right. It's part of the game, but it's all who says it and in the context of what you're saying.
Someone asked me the other day, too, another softball thing is we were playing the pickup and Carlos Toro kicked over, we weren't hitting, and he kicked over all the bats. And someone asked me after the game, why did Kevin do that? Why did Carlos do that? I go, what do you mean why didn't do that? That's a softball thing.
Yep.
The bats aren't working. You kick them all over, you throw them apart, you know. Rich LaPointe.
Pain in my ass. No, Rich.
He's getting better in old age.
I wouldn't say Rich and I had a falling out, but there was a time where I don't think Rich and I saw eye to eye. Early on with me working here, Rich worked for me, helped me out a lot of doing the different fields and stuff like that. But I think I talked to him he emailed me a few weeks ago, but I haven't talked to him. I don't think since the Dome, since the Sunday League in the Dome. He was playing with his son. So, but no, Rich is a good guy.
Yeah, that's why I'm playing with that. It's cool that Zach's playing. I remember when he was this big watching us play.
And he's another, he's another OG guy that's been around forever.
Yeah. No. He's opinionated, but I like it.
Yeah, Rich is an acquired taste. My first run.
If you think he's an acquired taste.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten used to all of you. I remember Rich, when we were playing the Merrimack League, he would trash us on the page or some page. And I remember just finally commenting, I was like, dude, I said, I've never said anything to you. Yeah. And I said, I just said hi to you at the field. Why are you doing this on Facebook now? Yeah. He's like, well, it's not you. I'm like, yeah, but you're using our name, you know?
Well, one Halloween Havoc, I forget what our team name was. It was Bats or something. I bought a Batwings hat.
Oh, really?
And he goes, take off that hat. Because that was what you guys used to go buy.
I went to Cooperstown and they were selling the Louisville Bats hats, and then everybody bought them.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
But there was a year where Rich begged me to be on the team. And he, it is what it is. Arlene Green,
hardcore
stud.
Yeah.
Anybody that could take a ball to the face, go get stitches, and come back and keep playing is stud.
Yeah, Bob.
And she did it.
Last night, Bobby actually he hit in the middle, not intentionally, hit Arlene. He's like, "What? I'm sorry," and I'm joking. I'm like, "She's playing with us Sunday. What are you doing?" He goes, "I didn't mean it." I go, "She's like, I'm like, she's the toughest person out here. She's fine."
Yeah.
Oh, she is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indoor.
Lame.
Indoor dome or indoor?
Indoor dome. Because that's what we're doing now.
Okay.
I love it.
It's the sound.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
At least for us and what we used to do and where the facilities that we used to play indoor in.
Yeah.
It was definitely a game changer for us.
Let's just hope it never collapses while we're in there.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
But I'd done indoor before, and there was a couple of years I didn't. And then when I saw what the dome was, I go, "This is cool.
Yeah.
This is cool."
Yeah. It's like Rich said. It's an acquired taste. Some people don't like it.
You know what though? I want something to do during the week.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Besides anything, I like to break the week up and have something to do. The Rebels. They've come into a few of my social sports. They did well in Canaan. There's this team in like the Keene area.
I absolutely love those people. They came in, the first tournament they came in and played was Halloween Havoc. And they just came in and they were a riot. Just the nicest people. Just easy going. Not a lot of drama. Just, hey, had questions. Wore costumes. And then won it all. And then after they were done, they're like, hey, we got all this food. We're making pizzas. Do you guys want pizzas?
Yeah.
Not knowing who.
I was at Youngsville. I remember that.
Yeah, they brought out this big flat grill and started making pizzas for everybody that was there. I'm like, you guys need any money? Oh no, we're good. They're just a really good group of people. They're the kind of people that you want to have at every single tournament. They come in with positive attitudes. They laugh. They joke around. They have a good time. They don't argue. Their teams don't fold. They don't yell at each other. They don't yell at other teams. They don't talk crap. They just go out and play and have a good time. It was good to see.
Halloween Havoc.
Well, I know you give me crap all the time.
We don't want Vince McMahon to see this, but is that where you came up with it?
Oh yeah. I mean, let's be honest. There aren't a whole lot of names that are original anymore. I mean, that's pretty much where I got it from. Stars and Strikes was actually a T-shirt off a BSN website.
Okay.
So,
for me, it will always be the Soccer Dad is the name.
Oh God.
The Soccer Dad. Who came up to me
At Derryfield.
No. Over
Derryfield
at
School.
Derryfield School
Yeah.
and said, "Do you know who I am?" And I said, "I don't even care." And then I told everybody, hit it at the kids playing soccer.
Oh gee.
Because we were playing a tournament and they brought in all their little 5 and 6 year olds and they were playing and they were yelling at us and we didn't even hit any balls at them. They're like, "You need to get off the field." And then this guy, "Do you know who I am?"
Who did he turn out to be? Was he a wrestler?
No, I have no idea. Just some old guy.
So I don't know if you ever played the Derryfield School at all.
No. I don't
So
think
they have a large complex to where one end is a softball field and it hits into there's a huge soccer field in the middle and a baseball field on the other end. So it was kind of the shared outfield / soccer field that they had kids on. So
Yeah, that'll happen. There's always gonna be somebody mad about something. But
yeah.
Anyways, guys, I really appreciate you guys coming on. This has been a blast.
bet. Love coming
Cold
here, Dad.
turkey.
Yeah.
Looking
Always.
forward to it Saturday. Very excited about that. But everybody out there, have a great week. Keep your heads up. Until next time, Left Field America.